Hello everyone, welcome to my video. This is Grandpa Hickory. America was shocked by Ritchie Valens. You know, Ritchie Valens came out with a song called La Bamba. Now this was back in it was the 1950s. And boy, it swept across the charts like you wouldn't believe. And Americans were dancing to a foreign language that we didn't even understand, and yet everybody was singing that song all across America. The young people of America were singing La Bamba. Ritchie Valens suddenly came on the scene like a shooting comet or a shooting star. You know, it was just all of a sudden he was there. And then it just seemed like just as suddenly as he had appeared, he was gone. Like a shooting star or a comet passing by the earth. And everybody were looking at it and saying, wow, it's a comet. Ooh, look, it's a shooting star, look. And then it's gone. Well, this was the way that it was in America. And I heard a lot of people back in the 1950s, there was a lot of, guys and everything, and they played different guitars and things like that. They liked rock and roll, early rock and roll, and everybody was really into it, and everybody was happy. And I heard them saying, hey, that's a wetback. That's what they called Ritchie Valens. I remember that. And they had signs and everything they put up. I think there was even billboards that were put up that reminded people that, from what I understand, it was even on the radio. They had mentioned that Ritchie Valens and his family, they had come across the border illegally into California, and they were not American citizens. None of them were. The whole time they lived in America, they were never citizens of the United States of America. Now, that's what was said back in 1950s. Well, I was 8 years old when Ritchie Valens was killed in that plane crash with Buddy Holly and the Big Bopper. It was a very horrible thing that happened. That boy that flew that plane should never have been allowed to do it. He was not trained in instrument flying. You see, at that time, there was an instrument on the plane, and it was like this, okay? It's constantly going, okay? Well, instead of showing that the plane is going up, it was in reverse. It showed the plane was going down. So the pilot kept correcting. Instead of pulling up, he pulled down. You can see it right after takeoff. If you'll look on YouTube and go back and research it, I have. You can see the Bonanza plane taking off. And the owner ran. He filmed it. He ran and he said, "What? It's going down. The plane is going down." Why didn't he get on the radio and call that pilot and tell him to return to the airport? Because he had made some money. He was the first plane in the air. He knew what had happened. And he went up and tried to cover his tracks for the death of those three young men, Buddy Holly, Ritchie Valens, and the Big Bopper. And I read they were talking about it. I've been doing a lot of research on that crash and everything. Did you know that Buddy Holly went forward and, oh, it's horrible. I mean, the autopsy is horrible. But he crushed his head and everything else. He actually went through metal. All of them did. And they hit the ground at, 100 and something miles an hour, and their bodies tumbled and fell. And when they did, their brains were turned to mush instantly, and their heart, all the arteries were burst off the heart. If you would study the science of sudden impacts on the human body, I've researched it. I've done a lot of medical research and things in my life. I'm 73 years old, going on 74, and I have done a lot of research in anatomy and things like this, biology. But anyway, you will find out and discover that when an airplane is flying and it suddenly comes to a stop, Well, you even hear about people, they all come rushing up to save the people, and they all look like they're asleep. Why? Because they're dead. When the human brain is suddenly stopped, it turns to mush. You can ask a medical doctor about that. Hello, baby. She wants in here to say hello to everyone. This is my little rescue kitty, Baby Precious. She got a nickname, a little Smokey, and she chose that name herself. I was singing on top of Old Smokey to her one day, and she come running to me, and she got up on me and did like this. And I said, you like that name, don't you? And boy, she let me know right away she liked it. So I call her Little Smokey. But hey, hit the like button, subscribe on Grandpa Hickory. And I just wanted to say that this is what went on in the 1950s. This was a shock to the nation, to the people of America. They saw all these young kids out there dancing and everybody singing la 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 bamba. And they thought, huh? What does that mean? The bomb? Or what does it mean? And so, everybody got together, and, the guys that I knew, they were musicians. And they said, well, hey, that's a wetback, ain't it? You see, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, he started an operation in the United States of America. You can research it. It was called Wetback, Operation Wetback. And that was removal of all these thieving Mexicans that had come into our country and were living off our welfare and everything else and taking advantage of the American people. No, baby. No. And she's down there playing around trying to knock my camera down. No, baby. No. Stop now. But anyway, these are the things that happened in our nation back in the 1950s, and I'll never forget it as long as I live. But Ritchie Valens, he done something that, was really shocking. But he did it. And I always liked Ritchie Valens. I like the song Donna. I like La Bamba. I like everything Ritchie Valens put out. There's nothing that I did not like about Ritchie Valens. But, things need to be done in the proper way. And I believe in properly vetting people. And if people like my people that come from England and Scotland, they did it properly. They were properly vetted and became American citizens. And that's the way it should be. Make America great again. Anyway, hit the like button, subscribe. I'll see you on the next video. Sorry I made this video so long, but, it just really intrigues me about the history of music in America, and rock and roll, and how things happened, and such a talented individual would actually go across barriers and be popular with everyone, even though he was in our country, what they said back then, illegally. So, it's just interesting. It really is when you study the effects of music on people and the rock and roll era of the 1950s going into the 60s. I'll see you on the next video. Goodbye from Texas.